Affiliate product sales, custom furniture design, and free house plans. Believe it or not, these are all ways that you can supplement your design income. And this week, I'm speaking with Earl Parson of Parson Architecture and Clever Moderns. To learn more, stay tuned. Giving architects and landscape architects the tools and strategies to be seen, heard, and valued in the marketplace, and telling the stories of leaders building thriving design firms and attracting their ideal clients. This is From Architecture to Profitecture. I'm your host, Jay Krakowski. Let's get started. Fellow and future Profitex, hello. How are you? Welcome to the show. This week, we're continuing to talk with design professionals that are doing more than just designing, supplementing their income, building their businesses, yes, plural, with different, not only forms of income, but different forms of their expertise, be it in furniture or in video, or as you'll find out forthcoming, rental properties. I'm talking with Earl Parson, an architect currently based in Prescott, Arizona, who formed both Parson Architecture and the brand Clever Moderns. Earl, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, Jake. I'm really happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
We were talking just a little bit before the show here about your vision for the Clever Modern brand, but to give a little bit of a backstory, can you talk about the formation of Parson Architecture and then how that became Clever Moderns?
Sure. So I was an architect practicing in Los Angeles, working for a firm in the Great Recession of 2008, 2009. And then, everyone got laid off. And so I was one of the firms that launched, in the aftermath of that. And my launch wasn't really like a big planned launch. It was sort of, I had set aside a nest egg, and I guess I didn't really have the desire to go back and get another job for another architect. And I just sort of vowed there and then I was just going to go on my own and make it work. It's sort of a series of personal events in my life that sort of catalyzed launching Clever Moderns. And so I had wanted to do something kind of in the direction of development, but I hadn't really figured out what, and had wanted to develop a kind of alternative version of practice that was more community focused around building a community. So there were some ideas about that, and I hadn't really sorted it all out. And then my boyfriend and I ended up deciding to just go for it with buying this land in northern Arizona and starting to build a little Quonset hut place to get away to, and with the idea that it could be a vacation rental. We ended up getting married and kind of combining our assets and household and all of that, and that sort of gave us some resources to work with a little bit to start putting into the Quonset huts. It just became a weird snowball where at the same time I had wanted to enter the Charette Venture Group's business plan competition. Mm-hmm. And the prior year I had not entered. And so then I did enter it with this vision for helping DIY owner builders and offering free plans as a kind of lead magnet, and then developing a business around DIY home building, as a thing. And then the Quonset huts the idea was that, Quonset huts could be a part of that as a potential, technology or method for people to use. And we started building our own. And then I just discovered there's this, as I was looking for resources for our own build, technical information about Quonset huts or how you can use them and what are they good at and what are they not good at and all these different things. There was hardly anything online in this genre. And I started putting my stuff out there, and then it just really took off. And I was totally unexpected, how big it would become. And it's not huge, but I started from scratch, and I have a Facebook group with over 2,000 people, and I have a YouTube channel now, which we can talk about a little bit. I had developed a 3D model of one of our huts and how we were going to, some kind of asking some questions out loud and what were my expectations. And I just sort of did a video spinning this 3D model around in Rhino. I did this video. It has 18,000 views right now. That's crazy to me. So yeah. It's just me recording my screen, looking and speculating out loud about how this might work. Mm-hmm. And then I posted it in May of that year, and 2 years ago. Okay. So then like later in the summer, I looked back at that and it had like, I don't know, it had like over 1,000 views or a couple thousand views. And I was like, oh my God, it was
Hmm.
crazy to me. And
You
I
found an
haven't uploaded in a
opportunity.
while. I have not been active on there really that much.
Hmm.
But for a while I really was, and I want to get back to it and keep it going. But I had no idea that there would be this appetite for this information. And so I
Hmm.
started doing more of the videos. And now I have my Facebook group, I have my YouTube channel. Um, I'm getting also about 2,000 visitors a month to my website at this point.
Oh, wow.
And this is all from scratch. And this is from an architect that was, practicing in Los Angeles. And like, okay, I don't think I'm like the greatest architect in the world, but I think I'm pretty good, but in Los Angeles, it's really hard. It's really
I'm
hard
sure
to
it's
get noticed.
very competitive. I would
Very
imagine.
competitive. I mean, there's a lot of architects who do really good work. And at the same time, there is a receptive audience to good design and to working with an architect. There's a
Hmm.
culture of architecture and design in Los Angeles that's amazing.
Right.
Um, so, but it's very hard to get noticed, and it's very hard to get good projects.
Hmm.
And it was really a struggle, And so, now I have a full roster of Quonset Hut clients from all over. I'm licensed in several states, and I, do a lot of projects in different locations. And people find me, and they find me from my YouTube channel. They find me from Google. They come into the Facebook group, and then a lot of what I do is I was just fielding emails this morning. Just people write into me through the form on my website with like random questions. A lot of the time I
Hmm.
use those to create a topic for a YouTube video, and I'll just go and make a quick video and answer their question and then put that out there. And I just discovered this niche and kind of started running with it.
Did you find kind of an interest in the Quonset hut first, or did the interest then start to kind of build it up in your head? Say, hey, here's a real opportunity here,
Well,
or a bit of both.
it was just I grew up in the Midwest. I've always loved the kind of rural agricultural buildings, the grain silos and the farm buildings. My grandparents had a farm in southern Indiana, and I grew up around a lot
Hmm.
of that stuff. I also, I like the kind of industrial, modern aesthetic, and that's kind of something I enjoy. And so the Quonset huts were just something that I had always wanted to do. And we started working with them, and there are certainly technical challenges that come with them.
Hmm.
They're just an industrial building that wasn't really meant for residential use. And I've had to,
Right.
I've really developed my own kind of methods of working with them that I think have worked out pretty well. And I mean, I like them a lot more now than I used to, because I know well, I've gotten better at working with them. But like,
Right.
they're also just, they're keeping me super busy. And the client, here's the thing. Here's my advice on, I mean, it's referred to so much as like finding your niche or having a niche
Right.
market. But the thing about a niche market, if it's a really successful one, is that what that really means is that you have found an underserved audience that needs something that you can provide.
Right.
And if you can find an underserved audience and find a way to serve them, like there is there's a saying from Peter Thiel, or one of the big entrepreneurial guys, I forget which one, that like if you want to make $1 billion, solve a problem that 1 billion people need
Right.
solved. And so like you can scale that way down. Like I don't need 100 clients in a year to be happy. I just need a very few clients, relatively
Right.
speaking.
Hmm.
And any of us do, right? So finding a niche that is viable and will serve you well is kind of the flip side, or it's like another way of saying, find an underserved audience that needs something and figure out a way to provide that for them, in a way that you can build a practice around. And
Right.
I had the idea of the free plans, kind of because everyone complains about not getting enough fee, raise your fees, charge more. You hear that a lot,
Right.
and it's true.
Hmm.
Architects should, you need to figure out a way to provide value and charge appropriately for that. I think that's 100% good.
Hmm.
But there was this like rebellious streak in me at the time when I was like going into the Charette Venture Group competition that year. And I was sort of like, what if I just grab the football and run the other way? And like, what if I just give away the plans for free?
That's it. That's it. So that was part of your business plan. That's interesting. I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
and so I thought of that, and I was like, "Wow, well, what if you just get?" Now, I'm not giving away construction documents for free. It's
Hmm.
it's essentially a lead magnet. Like, you could think of that on any website as a way
That's a
of,
great way to think of it. Yeah.
but they're like well thought out. And I have 2 of them on the website right now, and I want to develop more. And I'm about to, hopefully by later in the year, have stock plans for sale that, really will be build this house, and here's the
full CD set.
The full CD set. And I'm still learning about how some of that stuff works and some of the, things you need to know to get into that business. But but so it's sort of like a well thought out, light schematic design level, free set of plans. And those have done really well. And, on my website, like the plans page is my most visited, way more visited than my homepage.
I would imagine so.
On my website.
It's titled Free Plans. I'm looking at it on the side there.
So yeah, I mean, that's been great. And yeah, I've carved out this little area where people see me as the expert. And so it's amazing. Like, the clients are grateful and they want your best work when you have this like area of specialization. I had to go through this whole phase of shaking off like the decades of feeling underappreciated and like overlooked. Seriously, it was like a mindset shift that I think I've started to feel a lot. I think part of it is just the further we get with our own build. We've got these Quonset huts that we're building, up in near the Grand Canyon in northern Arizona, and we've had our spray foam insulation blown in, and we're working on finally, getting the house there up to almost to rough trades inspection. So, our learning even just in the last year about some of the technical things and the building science and stuff that we're trying to put into them has grown tremendously. But I hardly ever, and it's not like I don't ever experience it still, but like the imposter syndrome for me with this is like way, way, way lower than it used to be.
Right. You're doing all my segues for me. I was going to talk about imposter syndrome next. It's such a big component of entrepreneurship.
Absolutely,
especially when you've been doing something for 20 years. And I've just started this podcast this year, working on some other things on the marketing side of things to help architects and landscape architects market themselves. And there's just a little voice say, why you or why me? Just stick to what you've been doing the last 21 years, which is pen to paper, mouse to screen. So
yeah,
it's interesting.
It's there. Yeah, it's there. It's just part of it.
Right. But yeah, as you said, always a mindset game. Getting back to a little bit of the tech side of things.
Sure.
Just about every other shot on your Instagram features not a resident, not a builder, but an animal. You've kind of made a thing out of your what you got motion sensor and IR cameras out at the property there that are capturing your.
We love the Wise cams. The Wise Cam, WYZE. They're great. Yeah, and we just get like all this crazy wildlife, and then that day the crow went walking by, kind of like. He goes waddling through and he kind of gives the side eye to the camera and then keeps going. That one was hilarious. But yeah, I mean and that was a little bit unexpected that we would get all this nature stuff. But yeah, we have a bobcat. The bobcat walks through about once a month on the camera.
There's a badger here.
Yeah, the badger. I really like the badger. I mean, the badgers are kind of mean, and you don't want to kind of get in their space at all and stuff. But it's like extremely cool. I'm super excited about the badger.
But I mean, what I think is great, and from the marketing side of things, is the fact that you're interjecting these in your Instagram feed. It's not just straight architecture and technical detailing, but it's showing your personality. And I think I could see that would connect with your client. Create such a stronger connection with potential clients that while there's not many folks working on Quonset huts, but the fact that your personality or what other things that you like are ringing through, I can only see that as a strength. So
I do get a little bit of that thing, like people who have people who do like podcasts or something that get like a ton of listeners and all of that. And then there's this phenomenon where like your audience starts to think the audience knows the host so personally, and then they'll sort of go up to them and know things about them and try and interact with them at an event or something. And then the person's like, it's kind of weird. I've heard people talk about this on their show, and I had a woman who met with me up at the property. We occasionally, have visitors. Less now because we're really trying to focus on getting this building done this summer, and with COVID, not a lot of strangers coming around. Really,
right.
And she's like a soccer mom from Minnesota or something, and they were out west on a trip, and so I was like, yeah, okay, you can come by. We're going to be up there, and it's a little bit weird because like we don't know these people and they're just coming out to our property, but I got a good vibe from her and it seemed okay. And they got out of the car and it was her and her like teenage daughter and her husband, and she was like, I feel like I'm meeting a celebrity. And I was like, it was very touching. It was very touching. But she was such a fan on my YouTube channel that it was like a big deal to her to actually meet me. And it was very sweet, cool. And so I created a folder and I just called it kind words in my email. And, when I send out an email blast and, like once in a while, like I get some like thoughtful, some like nice responses, or I actually have like a 5-part email tutorial now. So when somebody signs up for my emails, it just gets like 5 email sequence that explains a little bit about me and talks about why I like Quonset huts, and then some basics about the Quonset hut parts and how the buildings go together and some stuff like that. And so people just hit reply on the email. I mean, I invite them at the end of the email of each email, like, hey, hit reply and tell me what's going on with your build or whatever. And like people respond to that stuff and they're like, oh, I love your story. This is so great. Thanks for bringing me along, and I love following your thing. Like, I mean, I don't get those every day, but like sometimes you need to like read back through that folder and get a little boost, because like not every day you want to show up but if you're building a community, you got to show up.
Right. No, absolutely. And then, long term, how much more likely are they to recommend you or to even jump into either full CDs or your consulting? Now, are you for your consulting? Are you traveling to project sites for these Quonset projects?
Not too often. I mean, a lot of them are more remote and I don't get to go, but sometimes the clients bring me back. And like I have, I do like a fair number of them in California. I have a couple of California clients right now. One we're about to hopefully get their permit in the next couple of months. And I may drive back to like one's in Joshua Tree, and it's just like so cool there anyway. I probably will just drive back, and I'll charge them something for the visit, but I'm not going to like try and charge all my travel time and whatever. It's just, it'll be a fun trip to go, do a little road trip back to the desert and go see that. And, I've done them as far away as Florida, and I'm licensed in Florida, and like they don't always pay for the travel and stuff, but I'm usually, I'm super responsive, during the construction and stuff. And I have a clause in my contract that if I'm not retained at the client's expense for travel during the construction, that, I'm held harmless for construction observation kind of stuff and all that. But a lot of it is, I'll just do an hour consultation and people can sign up. I have that page on my website, and I use Acuity scheduling, and that links with Stripe for the payment, and they can just book an hour of my time and pay right there. And that's great. I did one of those yesterday. People can get to you can book it, sort of schedule it right there, and then it goes to it's all just in the website, but it's linked through to Acuity, and you can get my availability for a consult. And then it punches right over to Stripe to take payment. That's great. Yeah, it's all right in there. Making it as easy for the client as possible, especially this year where we can't meet face to face. Exactly. Yeah. So I have another link that I'll just send out more judiciously, and I'll say, hey, I'll do a free meeting with you for 20 or 30 minutes. Just here's the link, schedule it. And, because I kind of formulated, I don't know, probably last year sometime, my mission statement. I'm on a mission to help anyone anywhere that wants to build a Quonset hut house. And even just when I say that, like, I don't know, I feel like, I'm rising to the occasion now. Like, I'm that guy. You're going global is what it sounds like. It's sort of like, but the thing is, like, that doesn't mean anyone that comes along is going to be my client. and that's not always appropriate. And it doesn't even mean that anyone that comes along is going to like sign up for a $200 for an hour consultation with me. But my website is a free resource, and my Facebook group has tons of resources. And there are lots of ways that I can, help anyone anywhere in some way. It doesn't mean I'm going to be their architect, but when I put that out there in my emails, and when I put that out there in all the different channels where I sort of do my thing, people respond to that. I've gotten a lot more responses from people just since I sort of embraced this kind of big helping the people that need the help with the thing approach. And I don't have to feel like I have to, recoup some hourly rate for every hour I spend helping someone, because I'm also plenty busy now with clients and paying clients and projects. And, and some clients are, they just seem like a nice person that I want to work with, and it's not going to be, great architecture. But I have clients like, I think some of these things I'm going to be able to get published and get some attention with, because I've got some stuff in the pipeline now that's getting built that's going to be pretty interesting, I think. So
nice. I mean, and sometimes they surprise you. Sometimes,
and that's true too. Yeah, that's definitely true.
Or they bring you project number 2 that they never mentioned through the course of project number 1, which is
that's definitely true. Sure,
it's the abundance mindset. That's kind of that's what it sounds like to me. That's what I've adopted. So
I agree. Yeah, that's the way to look at all of this.
I want to plug you. You're on all the platforms. So Clever Moderns on Facebook here. I see your private group down here.
Right.
Yeah. DIY Quonset Dwellers. Same tag on YouTube, and then Instagram is Quonset Hut. Is that right?
Quonset House.
Quonset House. So plenty of places to go and follow and connect with Earl if this is something you're interested in, or heck, you want to talk about an alternative business model to traditional just concepts and CDs. Any final words for fellow design firm owners, Earl?
There is something to this, since I recently started to reformulate my thinking about operating in a niche, that it's really about, operating to find an underserved community, or even think of it just as an underserved market segment, or whatever way you want to look at that. I think you have to be willing to sort of rethink some of the norms of our profession. Think about other ways of delivering services. There's a lot of opportunity out there, to grow your income and your presence in the world in new directions that are not being done. And it's up to us, I think, as architects to figure those out, or other people will figure them out and fill in the gaps in what people need out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's 100 ways to slice it, honestly. So
it's true.
Well, I'd certainly be interested in talking with you more as the builds get done and you start to move into the rental and the real estate component of things, how that maybe ties into your business.
And we can go into that at some point in the future, because I have a lot of thoughts on that are, I think, fun to bat around. So be happy to be back another time.
Sounds great. All right. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Jake. Take care.
Want to give a quick note, only because we've only got a couple weeks left on this promotion. I mentioned it in last week's, but there's a piece of software that is actually today's show sponsor called Groove Pages. It's a website builder, website hosting. You can create your landing pages and your sales pages. It's all under one login, one roof. And at least for this month, unless they change it, it's free web hosting for life, free landing pages, free website builder. ProfitectureByDesign.com/groove. You can learn a little bit more. Even if you're happy with your current website host, website builder, go ahead and I would say just grab it, because it may not be free for much longer. But if you're paying for Squarespace, if you're paying for Wix, if you're paying Bluehost, you don't have to. You can get free web hosting, you get free landing pages. If you're paying lead pages or ClickFunnels or Instapage, you don't have to. ProfitectureByDesign.com/groove. And if you have questions on anything, honestly, shoot me a DM. I'd love to hear from you at Jake Krakowski on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Until next week, make it a great week, because our success is inevitable. Take care, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you stay up to date with future episodes. Connect with me on Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn at Jake Krakowski. And for show notes and much more, visit prophetecturebydesign.com/podcast.